Samuel reaches out to us and he says, first off, I find your podcast along with your Easy Strength Omni book and Armor Building Formula book extremely informative and entertaining. Well, that means a lot. Thank you. Thank you for putting out this kind of content. It is very much appreciated. This is one of those I always feel like when I hear that, like I'm on a situation comedy. So what's your question? All right. I've been working out at home with kettlebells for 4 years now, with access to double adjustable 16 to 32 bells, single 40 and 48 barbell heavy clubs, pull-up bars, rings, barbells and plates, but no rack. Okay. My barbell work represents 15 to 20% of my training time and is focused on hip thrust, deadlift, and zercher squats. If you can handle hip thrust, deadlifts, and zercher squats, unless you decide to work on maybe heavy Olympic lift jerks or that stuff, you might not need that's a nice little combination here. So good for you. And Samuel, it's nice when people share with me their equipment, because I think a lot of us who train at home, and we become hobbyists, and it's like, oh, that's interesting. So you have that piece of equipment. I know it must sound weird, but I guess if you're a carpenter and you go to somebody else's wood shop or something like that, oh, I should get that. And that's how I feel when I see other people's gyms. So here we go with the question. After many years of conditioning-focused training, I have recently found myself captivated by the idea of strength. Just ran the ABC program. He's talking about the Armor Building Formula, and it's available at danjohnuniversity.com/bookstore, or just type in armorbuildingformula.com. And he's very curious about the Mass Made Simple program to put on some muscle. Since I don't have access to a rack, I wonder, what are your thoughts on using the Zercher squat instead of the back squat for the program, and what tweaks, if any, would you apply to the program? Okay, so Samuel, in total honesty, and I don't know if anyone's ever done it, the Mass Made Simple program. I guess the smartest thing for you to do is maybe put something, you didn't give body weight or anything, but let's just pretend, Zercher squat, 95 pounds, 45 kilos-ish, for 50 reps. Just try it and just see what happens. If it's impossible to do with the lightweight, then I just don't see how you can do it. One thing I would consider, and I love Mass Made Simple. It's a book I wrote, like all my books, it's battle tested. I had a whole bunch of high school kids and firefighters doing it I guess the new way to say it is in the 1.0 or the beta or whatever. I can't remember what the phrase is used, but we experimented with a couple of rounds with a bunch of different people, and we discovered that the complexes, which you can do easy, and some of the other work, really, working with those high rep squats and that forced eating made huge changes. Now, there are newbie gains. I see that phrase online all the time, and that's true. When you first lift weights, you make great gains. And there's also that secondary puberty chance, what I usually worked with my athletes at the high school area, at least. Well, and that's true. And even the college and university level, they're in that zone where you make great progress. When you stop growing vertically, your body stops getting taller. I think all of our listeners probably had that weird summer or two where you grew, 6, 7, 8 inches, and your ankles hurt, your legs hurt. I remember my collarbones hurting really well. And part of Mass Made Simple, I would say I cheated it a little bit because I was working with newbies and I was working with people in that later teen years, early 20s, when they were getting all the benefits of, what we used to call secondary puberty. I don't know what it's called now. For you, in the situation you're in, and hey, if you have Mass Made Simple, I think it's a great book, but the Zercher is a tough option to do it. So first, test yourself on that Zercher 50 reps with 95 pounds. Now, if you get the 35 and you dump the bar forward and say, I could build up to this, well, maybe you can do it. But with the exercises you have, in the book Armor Building Formula, I have that whole barbell section. It is complexes and it's a lot of other work. But the Wednesdays in the later programs with the barbell include those open days where you might want to find that to be an idea. From what I'm seeing here, I'd love to see you. Just looking at the way you're doing your training with all the equipment you have, Samuel, you have lots of options. And now, okay, so I'm finished, and then asterisk. I guess after about, for sure 35, but maybe even as young as 25, those of you who go on pure mass building programs, it's just a warning, just be a little careful about, putting on a lot of weight that you might regret having later on. Now, I'm the poster boy for bulkorexia, which is a phrase I love. I always like to be the biggest, strongest, fastest guy in the room when I was, coming up. But now I want to be a grandpa, a good grandpa, and I want to be around a lot longer. And I have no regrets. I love my discus career, my Highland Games. I played so many sports so late in my life, and I still Olympic lift. But if you put on fat on a bulking program, which happens, folks, and I get it. You can go all over online, and 100,000 people will tell you, I can get you to increase your lean body mass by, 40 pounds and no fat. It's really hard to do that. So first, try the experiment with the Zercher squats. Second, look at the barbell program and the armor building formula. And then third, maybe we need to do a follow-up question if you looked at those two and you don't like either, okay? There's an additional option. If you come drive to my house, I just put in a new rack, and my old racks are on the side of my house. I prefer you call me before you take them, or you can just come by late in the night and steal them. Racks are relatively inexpensive. I was talking to Brian Gwaltney today, and we get all these questions about, all I have is a single kettlebell. What should I do? Because I want to do a double kettlebell program. And Brian's point was, in this day and age, especially after the lockdowns, a lot of kettlebells are for sale. Spend $50 and get another one. I can't look into your pocketbook, but I would say if you can invest in a set of racks, I like the freestanding racks the best. Oddly, I right now don't. Now I have one of those real structured ones, a real step up. But just thinking along those lines. Maybe it's time to buy a rack and try the program. My biggest problem with doing Mass Made Simple at home is the bench press, because you train by yourself. And I'm not going to add another edition of Mass Made Simple, but for you home trainers, I sure would prefer you do one-arm bench presses with either kettlebells or dumbbells or however you work it out. A good question and a fun start to this week's podcast. Thank you.